Welcome back to some new r/petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those who wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Unprofessional. I work in a call center of a bank. Every customer who calls us must answer a few verification questions, and if they hang up or answer wrong, we need to block their access to the call center, assuming it was an attempt to use someone else's account. Then, if they call again, every employee will see that their access to the call center is denied. And to do anything with their account, the caller has to personally go to the branch to unblock the access. One time, I was talking to a very rude customer who demanded everything done immediately. I told him I would happily do everything he asked for, but first, he needs to answer the questions. He started yelling even louder, called me names, as well as saying I'm unprofessional, and hung up, so I blocked all of his access. Now he will be forced to go to the branch to unblock it, and only then he will be able to do what he wanted. And oops, he mentioned that he was abroad, couldn't go to the branch, and that's why he called us. He thought I was unprofessional, so I made sure I did everything according to our procedures, so he should be satisfied. The next story is called Management Contract. For anyone who has ever served on an HOA board, you know that most of the violations, accounting, and general management of an HOA is handled by a property management company. This is mainly because it would be too expensive and biased to have someone who lives in the community handle all of these duties alone. A dirty little secret of these companies is, however, that many of these companies will make their prices cheaper by secretly passing fining policies onto homeowners that the board has no control over. About a month ago, we were conducting a regular HOA meeting. We have been having them fairly often to keep our board, management company rep, and homeowners in sync, since I have been hearing complaints of bad behavior from the management company. In this particular meeting, however, things almost got out of control. As soon as we finished all of our checklist items, we asked homeowners for any questions. A couple stood up, and I saw the man holding a paper with a shaking hand, which I quickly learned was due to his anger. Over the next 10 minutes, he explained how he was here to plead his case for the board not to foreclose on his house, especially since he had been making payments on a large debt for a very long time. Without going into too many details, the discussion got extremely heated, because our management company had told us not to get involved, since this homeowner had already been involved with our lawyers. After lots of arguing, the meeting was finally over. I left totally confused, because I knew that the homeowner was in good standing, and if he was willing to pay, which the record showed he had called to do so, why couldn't he? I had been told by my property manager to not take any action, and I decided to call BS. I called the legal firm representing the board, which I was told not to do, even though they represent us. After talking with the firm for an hour, I found out that the management company had not allowed this homeowner to pay his fines and dues because of a petty procedural technicality, and that instead they were slapping fines on him like there was no tomorrow. I quickly told the lawyer to offer to settle his balance with no fines, and the issue was resolved the next day. I spent more time looking into our management company and found out that they would underbid management contracts costs and supplement them by adding on their own fines to homeowner collections without the board's approval. This is a technicality in the fining process, and while it's not illegal, it's highly unethical and disputable because it encourages the management company to fine and escalate non-issues since they make more money. I honestly felt horrendous because I had no idea, and because it's a one-line clause in the contract. I also received a call from our community manager, urging us to stop waiving fines, since it sets a bad example. That really sent me over the edge. Livid with this phone call and new knowledge about fines, I found a new management company and terminated our contract immediately. In addition, I found a loophole where all of the charges unfairly pressed against homeowners will not be recouped by the company. and the HOA cannot be liable for them, since they are pass-through. I know about a dozen other HOA board members in my area, and discovered about 6 of them are using the same company, and even the same community manager. I urged them to look into the same issues, and they soon discovered the horrors for themselves. It sounds like all of them will be terminating their contracts too. One of the other association presidents actually knows State Council for HOA rules, and they are now working with them to make this practice illegal. If it passes, this entire company will go under. As for the community manager, the person helping our community, they have lost over half of their contracts, and their manager came begging for me to stay. They even offered to stop the fining policy in the most corporate talk way possible, where they basically gave themselves plausible deniability if they do it again. I told him that his property manager deserved what she had coming to her, and that their policies were stone cold terrible. He tried to reply, but I just hung up. I was too angry. The last story is called Talk Down to Me. This was back in 2019. I had worked at a call center for 2 years. I took phone calls, trained people, worked overtime. Sometimes they'd even just have me walk around and answer any of my coworkers' questions. They scored our calls, and I never received below a 90. Now for Amy. Amy had only been working for about a year. She instantly disliked me, because I dress a bit alternative. Professional, but alternative. I was on some new medication for my funky little brain, and I didn't react well. It made me more blunt. A customer was arguing with me, saying I was stupid for not giving them a promotion item that was not going on. So I told them flat out that I was right. She started screaming, so I said I'm not taking it and hung up. I got called in the day after next. They fired me for hanging up without a warning. I told them I'm on new meds, so they couldn't fire me for that. But they needed paperwork proving my problems. Fair enough. Then comes 3 months of calling numbers, getting things sent out, only to have Amy tell me they didn't receive anything. When we had meetings, she would talk down to me, tell me being good at my job didn't matter, because I was only still there because of my excuse with the meds. She even ignored 2 of my managers, saying I deserved to stay, because I was great at working. She kept on saying my paperwork was lost. Later, we were all working from home, so I decided to move, and she found out, telling me she had to approve it before I did so, and that she would approve it. I moved, and about 2 weeks later, she broke me. She had some managers schedule me for 3 12-hour days in a row, which I had said I cannot work those in a row. Amy told me I needed to show up, or there would be actions taken against me. So I got online and started working. At lunch, I logged off and sent an email to everyone, saying that I had great managers and coworkers, and it was a great job. But sadly, I just couldn't stay, because Amy was making my job rough. I named her in that email. Then I logged off and went to sleep. I got a call the next day from the head of HR, begging me to come back, saying that Amy decided to leave for a different opportunity. He even said we could discuss a raise. I said thanks, but no, and never looked back. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.